Hello everyone, VegasFig1965, and I'm here with Noah. Hey Noah.
Hi.
And this week's video, we're going to be doing the mob guide video, and it'll be on. Take a wild guess, Noah.
Or we will be on the Ender Dragon.
That's right. We're going to look at the Ender Dragon this week in this week's video, and it's going to, of course, like I said, be on the mob guide. So, without further ado, Noah,
Let's find out.
welcome back, everyone. VegasFig1965, and I'm here, of course, with Noah. So, Noah, most people know where to find the Ender Dragon, and that is where, buddy?
The end.
And you just got done telling me something about the Ender Dragon, because so many people are afraid of this mob, and it's I guess the most scaring part of this is you can fall into what's called the void and lose all your stuff, right?
Yep.
But what's the most powerful mob you think?
Wither, I mean.
You think the Wither is, and why is that? You just told me. You might as well. I like it.
I think that the Ender Dragon isn't the most powerful mob in the game because the Wither does not just run away like the Ender Dragon once you hit it a few times like the Ender Dragon. The Wither just keeps on coming back at you. He doesn't run away.
You're right. He's exactly right, guys. The Ender Dragon, actually, when he's flying in the end, and he starts to get a little too close for comfort, you can hit him with an arrow, as an example, when he's in the air, and he will actually change his path. It's not like Noah said, like the Wither that'll just keep coming after you. So yeah, I would have to agree that the Wither would be much more tougher. He is one we will be going over with eventually, and Noah and I did do a Wither strategy guide. I might link that here at the end of this video. But right now we're talking about the Ender Dragon. It is an end game mob. You will see the credits once you do kill him. Now, what I strongly suggest, and I'm sure Noah will agree with me, is once you do find an end portal, an end city, and you are going to take on the Ender Dragon, you may want to consider setting down a bed in that portal room, because you want your respawn point there in case you die. Otherwise, it's going to be a very long trek to get back. But anyway, the Ender Dragon himself does a lot of damage, but his biggest one, I guess, would be the knockback, right?
Yeah.
But what the Ender Dragon does is once you get into the end, if no one has killed the Ender Dragon before, then he will be flying around a bunch of obsidian pillars, and 2 of those pillars are going to be caged. But I got to tell you, I've told people over and over again, you really do not have to pillar up to take those out. And why do we need to take those out? Is because they're on the top of each one of those towers are crystals, right?
Yep, and they heal the Ender Dragon every time you hit him, and you don't take out those crystals first, then he'll keep on healing over and over again, and he won't stop.
That's exactly right. Noah's exactly right. So the first priority really is to avoid getting the dragon's breath, or stepping the dragon's breath. It does a lot of damage. That is his attack when he's in the air. He'll fire a fireball, like I said, or a dragon's breath ball on you, and it'll land on the ground. But you can use bottles, empty bottles, and collect that stuff to use for lingering potions. But as he's flying around, he's very difficult to hit with a bow, and you have those obsidian towers that have crystals on the top that heal him, like Noah said. And the idea here is to take those crystals out first and foremost. That way, you'll be able to take down the Ender Dragon. If not, like Noah said, he's going to continue to heal. So occasionally he will land on the center podium in the middle, which will eventually, if you kill him, turn into a portal that will take you to the credits and everything else. But getting those crystals on top, the best way to do it is really with a bow. And those caged ones, you stand in the corner. If you watch my video, you'll see I stand in the corner of one of those, and you can fire the bow in there. You do not have to pillar up to take those out. Once they're all taken out, it's fair game. He will no longer heal, and you can take him down. Now, the best weapon, in my opinion, is going to be a sharpness 5. Some people think, but he looks like an undead mob. How about smite? No. Sharpness 5 is the sword that you want to use. And of course, you want to bring a bow with plenty of arrows, and you want to be armored, because they're not the only mobs in the end, are they, buddy?
Nope.
Tell me.
There's also an Enderman.
Yeah, there's tons of Endermen. Now, you'll hear them occasionally get aggroed, but that may be the dragon aggro, or it could be you if you're getting attacked. Now, you could set yourself up a small area with ender bricks to get underneath that may be too 2 blocks high, so the Enderman can't get to you and you can get in there. Other than that, that could really be quite a hassle having a bunch of Endermen. And I believe our strategy to fighting the Ender Dragon would be to keep your vision, your crosshairs that you see in the center, this little crosshair X you see on mine, to keep that pretty much towards the ground like this as you're moving around, because you can see. But if you keep it like this and you come across the path of an Enderman, you're going to aggro him and he is going to get angry. Him and his friends are going to be coming after you, whoever you looked at. So don't look at those Endermen as best as you possibly can. So the strategy to taking this guy out, of course, is to take out those crystals first. And then then shooting him with an arrow after all the crystals are gone. And you'll be able to tell whether you've gotten all the crystals, because when he passes by those obsidian towers, there either will or there will not be a beam that will be healing him. Occasionally, he will come down, he will land in the middle. And once he lands on that so-called podium in the middle, bows will be ineffective. They will just bounce off of him. So at that point, you need to get your sword. And the best place to hit him is going to be in the head. If you wanted to turn on the hit boxes, by all means, go right ahead and you'll see exactly where you can hit him. Because the most damage, he takes 100% of the damage by hitting him in the head, and he takes a smaller amount of damage by hitting him anywhere else. Some people like to get below by the podium and hit. You have to be very careful because he will knock you back. And here's a little bit of info that I use, and me and Noah use, when we take on the Ender Dragon. We use slow fall potions. And if you watch our video on taking out the Ender Dragon, which I will link that as well, then you will see I actually get hit by a knockback. And I go up maybe 2 or 3 feet, and I kind of ride along with him on his side over here. But I don't really go very far off the ground, and I land comfortably and slowly. So I'm not here to tell you what to use. There are a lot of different potions that you can use, but I strongly suggest that you bring empty bottles to get the dragon's breath when he shoots him on the ground. Not only just to collect that, but it also gets it out of the way so you don't step in it. So you want to be quick on your feet and stay out of his way. For the most part, he'll be flying around, so you'll have plenty of time to take him out.
If you get swinging up in the air and you don't have a slow fall potion, then you might as well just, if you have an ender pearl, just pearl down and it won't take any damage except the ender pearl damage from going up there.
Noah, that's a very, very good point. Noah brings up a great point, because if you do get knocked up in the air, you will get knocked up considerably high. And if you're close to the edge of the island there, you could risk getting knocked off. So having ender pearls with you is very important. And some people like to use a bucket of water as well. And I still strongly suggest making the slow fall potions, which you can get from the phantoms, right? Mm-hmm. That's the phantom membrane.
But the water is not very efficient if you're not good at placing it down right in the time. Because you might kill yourself.
You're right. That is very tough. So there's other things. For example, Noah, would you suggest bringing golden apples?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Just in case things get really thick and tough, a golden apple could definitely save your life. Okay, once you find an end portal such as this, you're going to notice that there is a silver fish spawner. I don't like them. I'll end up breaking that. And I usually cover the lava so we don't actually fall into it. This is the area that you want to set your bed down to get your respawn, and make sure you click it to set your respawn point in case something bad happens in the end. From this point, you'll notice that we only have 1 Eye of Ender in there. You'll need to fill in the rest. You want to make sure you bring plenty of Eyes of Ender, because to find the end portal, you're going to need Eyes of Ender anyway, and you do throw those in the air and just follow them. And sometimes they can be pretty far. Sometimes you'll get the Eyes of Ender back, and sometimes they will break. But just follow the path of the Eye of Ender, and you'll eventually get to a spot where it just keeps going straight down. Then that way you know that you found under the ground is the end portal area. From there, it's just a maze. Find this little room and you'll be all set. From here, we're going to set up our Eyes of Ender into these slots.
But can we mention something about the eyes? You need 12 total if you want to make the eyes.
Noah's right, but I suggest bringing a lot. Now, I bring, usually when I start out, I'll probably bring something like, 32. That's about right, or 64. Just have enough. That way, and don't forget your ender pearls too when you get into the end, because you will need those, or a bucket of water if you're proficient at it. And don't forget slow fall potions, and stay away from the ends of the end island, because if he does knock you back, you may end up falling in the void. Let's put the last one in, and there it is. That's what you see. So now we'll go into the end gateway. Okay, once you drop through, you'll notice you'll end up on a small platform. Just be careful. Make sure you do bring some blocks building blocks that you can build yourself a pathway across. Occasionally you're lucky and you're underneath here somewhere. Just dig your way up. These are the guys we have to worry about. We do not want to anger these guys. If you look directly at them, they will come after you. So avoid that. You can hear now the dragon circling above. These are the 2 cage ones. They're usually not very high. So again, I suggest getting into one of these corners right here, and you can shoot that out right into there. And I'll post a video link of me and Noah taking on the Ender Dragon and doing that. You'll notice there's just 2 of them. The rest of the crystals up top need to be taken out with a bow or pillar up. But again, I strongly suggest not pillaring up. You see that he's going to fly around, and eventually he will land or kind of land, but he really doesn't land on this end. And eventually, it'll be an end portal to get you back to the real world and see the credits. When he does land, you need to come in within a certain number of blocks. Otherwise, he will take off. Now, eventually, he will, after 5 breaths, leave his perch and take off and resume his circling again. So you see these beams, and that's what you're going to look for to make sure that you've taken them all out. So once you've taken out an end crystal, it will explode, and I'll give you an example right here. Of course, normally I would use a bow. Do you have a bow on you, Noah?
Yeah, I do.
Noah, why don't you take out one of these end crystals so we can show them how dangerous they are, because they can cause some damage. Boom, just like that. Now the Ender Dragon will no longer be able to heal from that crystal, and you need to make sure that you're going to get all of these crystals out before you take him on. Once all the crystals are gone, that is when you can start damaging the Ender Dragon. His health bar will appear up top, and as it slowly gets depleted, Noah, if you'd like to shoot him, we'll show and give him an idea of what's happening. And he's very, very elusive, very tough to hit. You'll see his change. There we go. He hit him with one. Now he's coming. It looks like he's coming down to land, and you want to make sure that you get in there as close as you can. Once he gets kind of perched up there, even though he doesn't really land on it, bows will, like I said earlier, will no longer work. When you do, and if there's nobody within, as you saw, within a certain number of blocks, he'll just take right back off again. Other than that, he normally lets out about 5 breaths, and then off he goes again until you finally get him down. When you do finally kill the Ender Dragon, for the first time in that world, you will get 12,000 experience orbs, and perched on top will be a dragon egg. Okay, so here we have the Ender Dragon is now dying. Normally he'll try to make it down to the podium. As you can see, he is now dying, and he will drop, like I mentioned earlier, 1,200 experience in orbs. But if it's a second time, only on the first time, but on the second time or more, you'll find that he only drops 500 experience. And don't forget to get your egg. It will appear on top of that little statue there. So, okay, then Noah's going to show you how to get the egg. There we go. If you notice, once you click on it, it will show up somewhere else. The next step, of course, is to dig underneath it. I'm going to see if I can get a good camera angle here to show you. You leave that block that's right underneath it, and then you're going to set a torch down there. Go ahead, Noah. Set a torch down, you'll break the next block, and you'll see the egg will float right in there, and you can pick it up. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this guide on Mob Guide, or this week's video on the Mob Guide for the Ender Dragon. So I can get Noah in the picture here. And if you like the video, click the like button. If you want to subscribe for future videos, click the subscribe button. Noah and I usually make videos every Wednesday and have them edited and out by early Thursday morning. Thanks again for watching, guys. And until next week's video, we'll see you then. Goodbye.
Bye.